Hey guys, Alex here, part of the Blueprint base building media team, and today we're going to be jumping in to check out how you guys can be better at using E-Drags in the current meta. So in the current meta, everyone is using Super Dragons. Let's be honest, they are pretty OP, but the Supercell team, from what we can sort of see, are definitely taking people's advice, and they're probably going to be nerfing them in the next update. So I think we are going to see a return of the infamous blue dragons, of course, those E-Dragons. So in today's video, we're going to be jumping in to take a look at how you guys can get a little bit better with E-Drags and bring in some really strong triples. So you can see we have Dookie kicking us off here from Brothers Army, and the E-Drags strategy is one of the easiest here in the game. You can see we're going to use our queen up there at the 12 o'clock section. Our king's also going to make an appearance up there. So more often than not, you're going to want your heroes just to walk down one side. You then want to use something to funnel on the other side, whether that's just dropping one E-Drag early, and then you want to deploy the rest of them right down into the core. Make sure you are nice and early with your Eternal Tome ability, as you guys can see we were right here, and then you want to keep on pushing through with those rage spells. And as you can see, we actually have quite a few of these E-Dragons making their way onto the outside of the base, and sometimes you will find that with the E-Drags pathing that it's very unpredictable, but that's why you want to make sure you are creating that funnel nice and early on with your king, with your queen, and potentially with an E-Drag over on the other side. Now remember, you do want to of course bring some of those balloons alongside your E-Drags just to help protect them, because those black bombs can be pretty damaging. But you can see we finish up here swagging our royal champion, our queen, and a couple of spells. So a really strong attack there to kick off this video, just showing how insanely strong E-Dragons are. Alright, moving forward into our next one, slight different variation here, but we're going to be kicking off with a nice early Town Hall takedown. We're going to deploy that blimp down. We did have a Cocoloon in there. It's going to be a very safe and secure blimp with those sneaky goblins. They are going to take that Town Hall down, which means we no longer need to worry about them. You can see we have a baby dragon down at the 6 o'clock section. That's going to help with just a little bit of cleanup over there. Again, with E-Drags, a lot of the time it's all about funneling, and here they come, those big bad blue boys down into the core of the base. The king and the queen again in combination going to be walking up. Well, the queen was walking up, but she decides to turn, but that's not going to be the end of the world because the king is still doing his job. But you can see once again, a very similar strategy. We're seeing the early Eternal Tome with a double rage right at the start. We're then going to continue using those rage spells as we push further into the core of the base. We want to, of course, make sure we use those freeze spells as and when we need them as well, freezing up the enemy queen and the enemy royal champion, because they are basically walking air defenses. Really important. Also, if you're finding your E-Dragons are clumped up, feel free to drop those freeze spells down on those scatter shots. Up there at the 12 o'clock section, I definitely probably would have dropped the freeze spell slightly earlier than we ended up doing, dropping that poison spell down on the enemy RC. Again, like I said, they can be very devastating towards your E-Dragons, so treat them as a walking air defense, freeze them up, use the poison spells on them, do whatever you need to make sure your E-Dragons get through them, no problem at all. But we have plenty of spells left up here at the end, a freeze spell and an invisibility spell. Those are going to go down just to help push us through these last couple of defenses. But the really good thing about those E-Dragons is if they clean out the entirety of the core of the base, more often than not, you're going to find that your heroes, your king, your queen, your RC are going to be able to push all the way around the edges of the base like they did in that previous attack, and they can finish off with a triple for you. Okay, moving forward into the next one, we're going to be kicking off again with a little bit of funneling. Now you'll notice it's not a massive amount of funneling, it's a very small amount, but we do just want to do enough to make sure we are creating enough pathing for these E-Drags to push through. So here we're going to see it, rage, and Eternal Tome ability. It's the most common thing to do with E-Drags, and it works so well. Getting those E-Drags raged up early means that every single one of the E-Drags in the Eternal Tome is going to be able to get massive chain value through right into the core. We also caught our blimp there with our Eternal Tome. We raged it up, taking down the Town Hall. which allows the rest of our E-Drags to push quite nicely through into the core of the base. Now, as I said, you will start to lose E-Drags as you push on through. In fact, in this attack, we only have 2 or 3 left up. Unfortunately, we actually do end up pulling the Lava Hound out of the CC, but we can continue smashing on through them with the troops we have remaining. But the heroes are always going to be the MVPs of this. The E-Drags do all the heavy lifting through in the core of the base for you, because you're going to end up running out of spells. You use all your rages, you use the majority of your free spells at the start, and then as you push through to the back end, you're really relying on those heroes and their abilities to just try and tidy up as much as possible. But you can see the invisibility spells are actually going to be really helpful, especially for the Royal Champion, because if you get a single target Inferno, a scatter shot, something you can do a lot of damage locked onto your RC, having that invisibility spell just to protect her a little bit, really important. But that's another attack there. We end up swagging the invisibility spell and our heroes finish it off. So moving on forward, using a couple of archers and a couple of wizards just to clean up this 6-7 o'clock section. And this is a really common thing to do. You often don't need to use massive troop space. So for example, you don't need to waste an E-Drag on that left hand side. People have trash more often than not on the outside of bases. So if you can get value by just using a couple of archers, a couple of wizards to create that funnel, that is absolutely perfect. But following the exact same plan that we have been in these previous attacks, we're making sure we're dropping down the double rage spell early on. And even if those rages are left behind, which is exactly what we're seeing in this one, as long as your E-Drags can get some nice chain value through those rages, you are going to be sitting pretty comfortably. Continuing to move forward into the core of the base. Of course, we have already used our Eternal Tome, but sadly, we got super unlucky. Our Grand Warden did get sniped off by a Seeking Air Mine, so our Blimp is going to have to try and make it all the way through without any real protection. But luckily here for Dookie, we are going to be able to throw that Blimp all the way through, but we don't snag that Town Hall quite fast enough. Those balloons actually path away from it, so the Town Hall is left up. But let's not panic here. We did waste our invisibility spell there trying to protect those balloons. If we'd held it, it would have been a little bit better here on the back end, because at this point, with the Town Hall left up, you could potentially be looking at a 1-star. But remember, we still have our Royal Champion to drop. We have our King and our Queen ability in hand. So we're going to drop that King ability. We're going to bring in the Royal Champion. She is going to directly target that Town Hall for us. The Queen is going to help with a couple of shots, and we are able to take down that Town Hall. We throw the Seeking Shield ability. The RC just manages to get out of the way of that poison, and they're just going to be able to sneak through for that triple, showing you guys just how strong these E-Drags can be. But again, you have to make sure you guarantee that Town Hall takedown. Do not take any risks like Dookie did in that previous attack. If you need to save some of your spells to guarantee that Town Hall takedown, perhaps bringing a clone just to make sure you take it down, then that's just what you need to do. King and Queen going to be coming in from that 3 o'clock section here. Like I said, you can sometimes just use an E-Drag to create that funnel, as we are up at the 11 o'clock section. Nice early Eternal Tome ability. We used 2 zap spells as well to take down one of those air sweepers just to help with our pathing as we make our way through into the core of the base. Sadly, the Tornado Trap actually screws us over a little bit here, so we're going to be forced to use a few more spells here to secure that Town Hall takedown. But again, just waiting on that Town Hall going down. We need a couple of our troops, a couple of those E-Drags to step up and chain through it, but they still don't do it. And that is what these tornado traps can do. They can cause a lot of issues, and again, Dookie relying maybe a little bit too much on a raged blimp to secure that Town Hall. What I tend to do in these sort of attacks, if you're not 100% sure of your Town Hall takedown, bring an invisibility spell, as Dookie has been, but also make sure you are bringing a clone spell. Clone spells can really help take down the Town Hall, and if there's additional buildings in and around it, whether that's Inferno Towers, scatter shots like there was in this one, you're actually able to pick up a lot more value. Usually just bringing balloons, maybe a dragon, maybe an Inferno Dragon, something like that, can always help take down that core compartment. If it's an isolated Town Hall, then usually you can just about get away with a raged blimp. But E-Drags, they are insanely strong, and hopefully you guys have learned a little bit more about them. If you do want to see more strategy videos, make sure you head down to the description below, where we have got loads of other strategies you guys can check out. And with that, we'll catch you in the next video. Peace.